Okay, I'm super excited for today's blog post because it's going to be a summary of everything I've been talking about for the last 3 months. And we're going to add some new layers to the Manifesting Your Soul Purpose system. So let's do a quick review and then we'll add in some new layers. If you remember back at the very beginning, I said, you're in a place now that's undeniable. You're in the present, but there's a place that you want to go, a vision that you have for your future. And the challenge is, how do you get there? And so I laid out 7 steps to help you understand how to get from here and now to where you want to be. And the first step is building a gratitude foundation. And I said, without gratitude, it's hard to move forward because you're waking up every day not grateful, not in a good mood. It's very difficult. So starting with gratitude, I said the next step would be to acknowledge your source or higher power from which all goodness flows. And from there, start to create clarity on your vision for your future that's guided from source. Once you have that vision, then you want to connect and be present in the now, because the now is the only place you can take action from. If you're worried about the future or dwelling on the past, you can't move forward. And so connecting to your source or higher power and being present is the way to move forward. Next, I said that there needs to be a framework for intuiting optimal decisions. There are some big decisions in your life that you got to get right, or it can send you down a path that may take decades to get off of if it's the wrong path. So from there, and again, making optimal decisions is connecting to your higher power and asking for guidance. Then I said the key at this point is to align and remove barriers to progress, whether those are stories that you have about being not good enough or whatever. And then getting those out of your system, those stories and feelings, so that you can start to take action. And once you have your beingness kind of grounded, then we can apply systems of action to move forward and get from where we are to where we want to be. So hopefully that all makes sense. Now let's start to add some additional layers. So on the top is your source or higher power, and on the bottom is that gratitude foundation. And there's a few layers in between. So let's add in some layers. And right under the source or higher power is what I'm calling your beingness. This is your soul, your spirit, that which makes up you outside of your body. So remember I said we're 99% energy, and our interaction with the world is our doingness. So there's this beingness and this doingness kind of in between our higher power and this gratitude foundation that we've built. And because we're 99% energy, let's add that energy component in here. So there's a flow of energy from your source or higher power to your spirit being that allows you to be who you are. And from that grounded beingness, then you can start to take action in your doingness. And as you produce results, you have gratitude. And when you have gratitude for everything that's in your life, you're now connected back from your gratitude to your source or higher power, and you've completed this energetic circuit, and things start to flow for you in your life. Hopefully this makes sense. Now I'm going to simplify the model even more, so that you only have 4 things to remember, maybe 5. So first, gratitude on the bottom, source or higher power on top. And then you come into the world as beingness. At some point, you engage with the world through your doingness. And the relative size of beingness and doingness is important here, because your beingness is way more important than your doingness. You got to get the beingness right in order for the doingness to be effective. And finally, there's that energetic cycle that was introduced in the previous slide. In other words, when you're grateful to your source or higher power, you establish a positive feedback loop that helps you continue to expand and grow in power and consciousness throughout your life. Make sense? Well, let's see how this system evolves and changes throughout life. So you come into the world as this little ball of beingness and doingness, initially disconnected from each other. Your beingness or spirit is present and wrapped in a body that allows you to begin to sense physical reality. I like to call the body your spirit vessel that carries you through life in this world. In this state, you are really just starting to connect to the world, doing your thing, being taken care of, getting your diapers changed, eating, taking care of your basic needs. But at some point, your beingness begins to grow in awareness, and it begins to direct your doingness. At this state of your evolution, you're walking, talking, starting to name things around you, knowing your own name. These are all part of your growth. And then at some point along the way, you become aware that there is a source or higher power that created all that you see around you and sense through your spirit vessel. You become aware that energy flows from your higher power in ways that allow you to sense the miracle of creation all around you. As you see all this miraculousness, you have a desire to express gratitude. And when you do, something really magical happens. As you express gratitude towards your source or higher power, and you establish a positive feedback loop that helps you to continue to expand and grow in power and consciousness throughout your life. Now, as great as this personal evolution sounds so far, it doesn't always flow this smoothly, and there can be some small or very large bumps along the way. So what this circle in the middle is that's your light of the world being shone out like a beacon. But sometimes that light can be dimmed. Something happens to you and you lose your gratitude. Maybe you're in a state of neutrality that you just don't care anymore. Or maybe you just want to survive on courage and your gratitude fades away and the energy circuit to your higher power is broken. And if things start to devolve too far, at some point you may even give up on a belief in a source or higher power. At this point, maybe you just have pride in yourself, or maybe you're angry, or you have some desire or fears, and you're caught in your own beingness and doingness with no connection to your source or higher power. This can further devolve, and your beingness can shrink if you can't find a way to reconnect. And you can spiral down into depths of grief and apathy and guilt and shame. At this point, some people just check out, and their beingness is disconnected from their doingness in a way that they are really no longer present in the world. They seem completely not here. And if there's no one around to love them or fight for them, these spirits will completely check out of this existence. And that's a sad day when that happens. But if there are people around you that care for you, family and or friends, you will survive. Something is said or done that allows your beingness to wake up and reconnect to your doingness. And if you know the 12-step programs all around the world, the first step is to admit that you're powerless over whatever it is that's happening to you in your life, and your life has become unmanageable. And you believe that you have a source or higher power that's greater than yourselves that could restore you to sanity. So at this point, you have some courage to move forward. And that source or higher power is reconnected to you. Maybe you heal enough to acknowledge your higher power once again, and then the graces begin to flow. You start to have willingness and acceptance for your situation, and you start to apply reason. And the steps 3 through 7 in 12 steps are you make a decision to turn your life around and turn it over to your source or higher power to give you guidance. You've searched and you've made an inventory of your beingness, and you admitted to yourself and to other human beings of where you've done wrong and gone off the track. But you're ready at this point to accept all that is in front of you, and you ask your source or higher power to give you strength and guidance. So at this point, your gratitude returns, and you've reconnected the positive feedback loop of energy that flows from the higher power through your beingness to your doingness. And you continue to expand and grow in power and consciousness. You start to experience love and joy. These are steps 8 through 11 in the 12-step process. So you've made a list of people that maybe you harmed along the way, and you make amends to them. And you continue to take a personal inventory of how you can become stronger and love more. And you've sought through prayer and meditation to improve your conscious contact with your higher power, praying for guidance, and that you'll be given the strength to carry on and be the best person that you can be. And then at that point, you are so grateful to your source and higher power that the positive feedback loop is emboldened, and you have a sense of peace and enlightenment that you live in, and you've had a spiritual awakening as a result of all the work that you've done, and you want to then carry what you've learned out to the world and become a beacon to billions of people. I hope this, and I trust that this message today speaks to a lot of you. And I'm looking forward to continuing on with this blog as we break this down, the simple model, and give you ways to move forward and grow in strength and power and consciousness in your life to become the best that you can be, to become a beacon to billions.